This is a demo of the tidylog package. We're going to start out by installing the package if you don't have it already installed with this line of code, using the DevTools function to download from GitHub, and then you use the libraries. We're going to start with dplyr and tidylog to get the libraries loaded. The tidylog package, the idea is it gives you feedback about what happened in basic dplyr operations, and it's really helpful if you're trying to keep track of what's going on in a pipe. So I'm going to start with a simple example of empty cars. We're going to select some variables, filter for high miles per gallon, mutate to create a new version of MPG, group by 3 variables, tally them up, and then filter and it's greater than 1. So let me run these selected lines, and you see the results in sort of comments here. Select drop 7 variables, filter, remove 6 out of 32 rows, mutate, created a new variable with 15 unique values and no missing. Grouping happened successfully and the tally occurred, and the filter didn't work because no rows were removed. So you're getting feedback on what actually happened so you can keep track of what's going on. If you want to see this result, we can run this line and see what we got. There's that new variable MPG round and the number in each group. So it's really helpful to kind of keep track and make sure that what you thought happened actually happened. Of note, if you run this whole chunk, you get 2 pieces: the output in the data frame from summary, and then you have this console window in the notebook so you can see what happened in each step. Let me show you some examples with filter and distinct. So I'll just run these. Filter removed 56% of the rows. Filter greater than 100 removed all the rows, which was probably not what was intended. Greater than 0 removed no rows. Filter at removed 19 rows, and distinct had no rows removed because each car was distinct. So it's nice feedback to see what actually happened without having to dig through and look at the data frame each time. Now, if there's anything surprising, it tells you that it's worth taking a look at. Here are examples with mutate, making new variables. So this one with 1 new var equals 1, of course you have 1 is a unique value and no missing. You can get various examples, the number of unique values, how many are missing, the one where it's set to NA, of course they're all NA. You can see how many values actually changed, new variables created, and generally gives you really useful feedback just to make sure there are no surprises is often the most important part. Here's an example with set of examples with select, how many variables are dropped, problematic if you drop all the variables. And here's some nice examples with joins. When you're joining 2 tables, that can be a little tricky, and you want to be really careful that you haven't missed anything or something strange hasn't happened. Here we added 1 column, what instrument is played. Here a row is added, and in the anti-join, no new columns. Just to give you an idea of what's going on with these are data sets in which they just have lists of musicians from the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and you can sort of see name, band, and what instrument is played. Of course, Mick sings, so he doesn't have an instrument, and for whatever reason this data set doesn't have Keith affiliated with a band. Here are a couple of examples for summarize. 2 grouping variables, now 9 rows and 3 columns. So let's see what that looks like. So you created a new total weight summary for those. In this one, it's summarize all function, and for the irises, and it's creating a min and max for each variable. grouped by species, and the console tells you there's one grouping variables, and you now have 3 rows and 9 columns, which is good feedback. And you have to scroll right to see all 9 columns. But it gives you an idea of what you can do. There's also times when you want to turn tidylogging off, and to do that you set the options tidylog display equals an empty list. So if you run this one, you just get the result with no commentary. If you turn it back on, you just set tidylog display to null in the options, and that gives you your commentary back. And that is tidylog.